called heaven, Oriole, the land where souls rest. These are the words episode 1 opens with, and they allude to the core journey Frieren ultimately decides to undertake. What she does while she's on that journey? Well, that would be the events of the anime. The journey that came after her original one to defeat the Demon King. So, after a 10-year adventure ending in success, the mage Frieren, the hero Himmel, the warrior Eisen, and the priest Heiter return to the royal capital victorious. To Frieren, such an adventure was brief, but to everyone else, it was a core part of their lives they knew they'd remember forever. Frieren couldn't yet.
So, Frieren Season 2 might disappoint fans, and not because of the story, but suddenly because I think it just becomes bad, honestly. Because the magic that made Season 1 special is extremely fragile. Season 1 of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, arrived at a perfect moment. Anime fans were burned out. Loud power systems, soul leveling, endless screaming protagonists, and artificial stakes. Frieren felt like calm, reflective, different. It didn't rush you. It didn't beg for your attention. It was just like calm and silent, trusted silence. And that just paid off at the moment. But here's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to talk about. Season 2 won't be judged by feeling, it'll be judged by momentum, and that's where problems can start.
Understand why this time was so important to them, but Himmel and all his insight knew she would eventually come to see it as such too. He immediately sets the tone for the different life that is Frieren's and makes it clear time is something she has a lot of. This is reiterated when the group are watching the Era meteors, an event which only occurs once every 50 years. This time the view wasn't that great, so Frieren proposes she bring them all to a better location for the next one. To her, those 50 years aren't much at all, but to the rest, that's pretty much the majority of their life. Even so, all would accept her proposal anyway. So, the next day, Frieren embarks on a 50-year side quest on her own, spending the era of peace collecting spells while traveling the Central Lands. Eventually, she finds she's in need of a Shadow Dragon's Horn for summoning, an item she just so happened to leave with Himmel. With the next Era meteor event occurring, it's when she does that would be the first time she's exposed to the way time truly affects people. With Himmel and Heiter far older than they were before, the way they've changed and the way they reflect on the events of their past perplex Frieren as all that is still new to her. The group then embarked to watch the meteors one last time, giving Himmel a final adventure he couldn't be happier for. It's shortly after that Himmel passes away, and only then does Frieren start to reminisce on the time she spent with him. She regrets not being able to get to know him better. This in turn...
So then why didn't she? Why didn't she get to know him better then?
Leads Frieren to want to understand humans better, setting her off on another 20-year journey to do just that. It's after those 20 years that Frieren reunites with Heiter again.
See, here's the thing. Season 1 worked because everything felt new. The slow pacing felt intentional. The emotional restraint felt mature. The quiet moments felt meaningful. But novelty it just only worked once. It only works once. So in Season 2, viewers just won't ask, what is this? They'll ask, where is this going? And if the answer took too long, the patience turns into like boredom, especially for casual viewers who joined because Frieren was labeled as a masterpiece from other fans. But I'm pretty sure Season 2 will not be as big as Season 1.
A chance encounter only made possible with the help of Fern. As a war orphan adopted by Heiter, he was hoping Frieren would be able to mentor her. He wanted Fern to be able to take care of herself before he was gone. Unfortunately, while Fern was certainly gifted, an inexperienced companion would only prove a hindrance to Frieren. This was the outlook Heiter expected Frieren to have, leading him to ask for something else. You see, knowing Frieren would say no, Heiter would instead present her with a grimoire that needed to be deciphered. He suggested doing so might reveal spells on immortality and resurrection. Considering deciphering it might only take 5 to 6 years, Frieren would decide she could spare the time for it. The only condition was that she needed to teach Fern while doing so. This was a proposition Frieren ultimately accepts, and that kicks off another 4-year endurance.
And another thing, before I forget, anime fans, like the Frieren fans love to say like they enjoy slow storytelling, but through like watch history, like the episodes feel similar. The themes repeat without escalation. Character growth is subtle to the point of invisibility. Viewership drops. Frieren's entire identity is built on like subtle change over long periods of time, and it's cool. But in season 2, subtle risks become like stagnant. If Frieren, Fern, and story don't show like clear like progression emotionally and narratively, critics won't call it like a masterpiece. They'll call it like more of like the same thing that we've seen from last season.
Endeavor culminating in Fern's mastery of magic and Heiter's passing. Turns out the grimoire never had any of the magic Heiter suggested, but it did allow Heiter to get what he wanted. Fern herself understood that's what Heiter wanted too, which is why she trained so hard to prove she could survive on her own before he passed. It's after his death that Frieren and Fern would start their own journey, taking odd jobs and learning odd spells as payment. There didn't seem to be any purpose behind what they were doing, so when it came time to search for a specific type of flower to decorate one of Himmel's statues with, the 6 months Frieren would spend doing so would highlight one of her biggest problems. She didn't treat time as if it was a limited resource. Despite traveling with Fern, whose time was limited, Frieren had no problem spending years doing what to Fern was nothing. So Fern would have no choice but to hurry Frieren along, leading to the sequence of events which would uncover the flowers. Turns out those flowers were actually quite important to Frieren, as they were the flowers of Himmel's homeland he always wanted to show her. That being the case, this was Frieren making the effort to understand more about him. A year later, Frieren is shown to do the same with Fern, trying her best to find a birthday gift for her. She doesn't know what she wants or what she likes, but the conscious effort she made to find something really resonated with Fern. It showed that Frieren may still not understand human emotions, but at the very least she's making progress.
Frieren works because she's emotionally distant for season 1, but emotionally distance only works for a certain amount of time. If season 2 doesn't challenge Frieren in new uncomfortable ways beyond repeating themes of time, regret, and memory, her character risks gonna feel very static. The same goes for Fern and Stark. Like, foundations were laid in season 1, but Frieren season 2 must justify why we're still following them, and not just philosophically, but narratively.
Eventually, Fern would ask for what reason were they on this journey of theirs, revealing it was to relive the adventure she had with Himmel and the others. She still wasn't sure if it was as important as the others made it out to be, but by retracing their steps, she knew she could find the answer. This brings us now to a story of magic, basically showing how the world has evolved with it. In the past, there was a demon Frieren and her party couldn't defeat, and that was because of the offensive magic he created called Zoltrak. This was the first piercing magic in history, and as such, it could penetrate any defensive spells and armor. So, at the time, Frieren had no choice but to seal the demon away, giving humanity time to study and evolve. Eventually, they found ways to counter this magic, leading to the development of defensive magic that could stop it. Now, Zoltrak was nothing but ordinary attack magic. This made defeating the demon again easy, a scene which highlighted Fern's mastery over defensive magic. One more year later, Frieren takes a job in which the reward is a grimoire written by the legendary mage Flam. The thing is, it's a known fake, as any books attributed to her are always fake. Frieren still accepts it anyway though, citing her own personal reasons as to why. 3 months are then taken to finish the job, after which the two would enjoy the New Year's sunrise together. Frieren found nothing special about it, but
Alright, so here I'm going to like wrap up the video. Leave a like, comment if you like videos like this, and also subscribe. Frieren season 2 could definitely disappoint. Frieren season 2 might disappoint fans. If the pacing becomes stagnant, indulgent instead of like intentional, emotional beats repeat without escalation. The side stories could stall forward like the momentum. Visual beauty replaces narrative progression. none of these alone would ruin the series, but together they could just turn Frieren from a masterpiece, so-called, into something very forgettable and plain, and having people having the Reddit and the YouTube comment section go crazy on how boring Frieren is.